Doing another chapter in my Lord of the Rings reread here. This one was called The Voice of Saruman. This is a chapter I have always enjoyed. It's the long-awaited confrontation between Gandalf and Saruman. The last time we saw Saruman, he had Gandalf captive way towards the beginning of Lord of the Rings. And in the meantime, we've had all this suspense build up about him. And before Gandalf confronts him, he warns everyone else, like, he has powers beyond your comprehension, he can take any form, his voice gets in your head and manipulates your mind and all this stuff. So it really amps the suspension and the mystery around him, and then Tolkien almost plays with anticlimax by having the whole thing play out as dialogue instead of, a big wizard battle or whatever. And it's awesome. It's probably the best dialogue in all of Lord of the Rings, in my opinion. A lot of really great, memorable lines, and Andy Serkis does a great job with it in the audiobook. So I had a pretty good time with this. Now, there's a lot of really good exchanges buried in this dialogue. For example, his words of Saruman are very transparently lies, right? But you can kind of see the manipulative effect it's having on some of the men. And then there's a moment with King Theoden where you're not sure what direction he's gonna go with it because he's been manipulated by Saruman before. So Theoden is like, "We will have peace, Saruman. When you're dead, gotcha." So it's a nice little bait and switch right there. Then there's a moment where Saruman is trying to get them on his side about the trees. We gotta fight the trees, which makes me wonder if he's like side-eyeing all the houseplants in Orthanc or something. But yeah, there's this great dichotomy played out between the heroes and villains. The heroes are willing to trust. They want Saruman back on their side if he's willing to work with them. But Saruman, being a villain, sees enemies everywhere. He's in it for himself, and he projects that motivation onto everyone around him. So it's a pretty nice, subtle way of building the character without seeing him very much. And Saruman is a more human character villain than, say, Sauron is. So he's a much appreciated character here. And then, yeah, Gandalf fires Saruman from the Order of Wizards like he's a moody teenager working at Burger King. And then he goes and has a hissy fit, and Wormtongue does the stupidest thing in the whole wide world by throwing a rock at our heroes, and it happens to be the most valuable rock in all of Orthanc. It's the fucking Palantir. Now, I've always hated the way that the characters get the Palantir in the stories. It's just so convenient. They're handed it on a silver platter. It would have made more sense if they just found it in a secret storeroom of Saruman's after the flood. Still would have been clunky, but at least it would have been a bit better. But we'll find out more about the Palantir in the next chapter, so stay tuned for my next Lord of the Rings update.